everybody, I'm Rebecca here at Y Mermaids, and today is my I went way over budget March book haul. There are 19 books in this book haul, just so you know, so I'm just gonna get started. I have a confession to make. I have never read a graphic novel. I know, you heard that right. You heard that right. I've never read a graphic novel, so I decided to rectify that, both because I've heard great things about them, but also because I'm doing the Pop Sugar book challenge for the year that requires you to read a graphic novel. So I went ahead and picked up Rat Queens by Curtis J. Weeb and Rock Upchurch, I believe. So I've heard really great things about this, and I felt like it was probably a pretty easy one to jump into the whole graphic novel world with. The next book I also got because it was kind of embarrassing that I'd never read it, and that's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Again, this is one that I've heard really great things about, but just have never gotten around to reading. I haven't even seen the movie, so I need to get on this like ASAP. My next trip to Barnes & Noble happened because I was reading Falling Kingdoms, and I was hooked. And so I really wanted to know what was gonna happen next and go ahead and get those next books, and it was Educator Appreciation Week, so I went ahead and picked up Rebel Spring and Gathering Darkness by Morgan Rhodes, the next two books in the Falling Kingdoms series. My next batch of books came from Book Outlet. It was my first time ever using Book Outlet, and I was very excited. My cart was a mile long, but because I kept procrastinating, half of them were not in stock anymore. So I only got a couple books from Book Outlet in this haul. But I only hit click and hit, buy because I really needed The Silver Dream by Neil Gaiman and Michael Reeves, the second book in the Interworld trilogy, which I'm reading for my Year of Gaiman. This is the pick for May. So if you want to follow along, we read Interworld in April, we're reading The Silver Dream in May, and the third one in the trilogy in June. I also decided to pick up Warriors Into the Wild, the very first book in this series. It's a book about cats, like from a cat perspective. Like, why would I not want to read this? The only question really is, why haven't I already read this? I also picked up The Enchanted by Renee Denfeld, I think is how you pronounce the name. I saw this on Reagan at Peruse Project, had hauled this one earlier this month or last month, and it looked really interesting, and the cover is just really pretty. So I decided to give this one a chance as well. And it's pretty short, so I'm gonna read this one kind of, when I'm having one of those moments where I don't want a big giant book. Although I have not yet read Shadow and Bone, the first book in the Grisha trilogy, I did go ahead and pick up Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo because I know myself and I know that I'm gonna love it and that I'm gonna want to read it immediately, and this was on Book Outlet and I decided to go ahead and get it. The last book I got from my Book Outlet haul, which again is only a minor portion of my gigantic haul, was The Thinking Woman's Guide to Real Magic by Emily Croy Barker. I've been looking at this one, had my eye on it for some time now, but I've never actually picked it up, and I've been meaning to, and so when I saw it on Book Outlet, I just had to get it. Again, I don't really know too much about what it's about. I believe that it's adult fantasy, but other than that, I'm kind of going into it blind, which is what I love. Now, we all know that I'm a big, gigantic Harry Potter fan, and so I buy anything by J.K. Rowling as soon as it comes out. I have to, whether it's Robert Galbraith or J.K. Rowling, I buy it. So I bought Very Good Lives by J.K. Rowling. This is her speech, her Harvard commencement speech that she did in a book form, and it's really cool because it's all black, white, and red, which is like my favorite color scheme. And it looks like a little children's book, but it's her speech, and so it has like, little pictures and little things like that all throughout the book. So it's really tiny, but it's got a really great message. So and it's J.K. Rowling, so like I had to buy it. My book club that I'm a part of, my teacher book club for the month of May, is reading A Darker Shade of Magic by Victoria Schwab. So again, I had to pick it up because we're reading it for book club, and I always like to have physical copies for book club especially. And I wanted to read it anyway. I suggested this one, so it was just my excuse to be able to buy it, basically. The next two books I did not buy, so go me. There are these little mini free libraries around all of the city. And I happened to run across one when I was getting my cupcake tastings for my wedding. So I saw one and I looked inside, and there were 2 books that I really wanted and I haven't read, so I decided to pull them out, but I'm going to donate more books back, so it's okay. So the first one I got was What is the What? By Dave Eggers. I really like Dave Eggers. I think he's a really great writer, so I decided to get this one and give this one a try. And I also picked up Pride and Prejudice and Zombies by, of course, Jane Austen and Seth Grahame-Smith, which, I mean, it's just fun sounding. Who doesn't like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies? So I've never read this, so I decided to give it a chance. And finally, we're in the final portion of my book haul. I am obsessed with Game of Thrones. I've rediscovered this obsession, and I realized that I didn't actually own the books. I had the copy of Game of Thrones, but I don't have any of the other ones, and I read them all on my iPad or my Kindle a while ago, so I decided I really wanted physical copies, and they were half off, so 5 of my books this month are A Song of Ice and Fire. All the first 5, so now I have them all in this pretty little box set. Woo! It's upside down, there we go. I have them all in this box set, and it's so pretty! And finally, my very last book in my book haul today, I found on Amazon for $8. I forget who it was, somebody tweeted that it was only $8, and I was like, I went there immediately. And that is The World of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. And this is like basically all the backstory and the entire world building of Westeros and the Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire. It's normally $50, and I got it for $8. So I had to. I couldn't not get it. It was just one of those things. And finally, the bonus round, I did pick up both Jon Snow and Ghost for my pop figure. So they're gonna sit right in front of this big giant Game of Thrones stack of books on my bookshelf, and I felt like I just had to show them because they're so cute. Well, that is it today for my I went way over budget book haul. Like, way over budget. So hopefully the ones in the future, I am on a book buying ban. Like, I have to be. So hopefully they won't be quite as large in the coming months, but we all know best laid plans, right? They never come. So anyway, let me know which of these books I should be most excited to read, which ones you've read, and that is it for me today. I have a lot of reading to do. I will see you tomorrow. Bye!